If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
You got 5 minutes to do some great sports radio in 3, 2, 1.
All right, thank you everybody for listening to WNST. My name is Jeff Gilley. You can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey Gilley. Last name is spelled Gilley. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. And I'm going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens. I heard Jeff Priglick, who I got to know a little bit in last year's competition, saying that, he uses bread and butter, so I think I'll probably do the same. It wasn't very long after the Super Bowl ended that they started cutting players, trading players, and some players leaving via free agency. And the only player that I really think that I'm really worried about is the departure of Anquan Boldin. And, I've heard a lot of people say, he's getting older. Yeah, he can't separate, but, it doesn't matter if he can't separate. He catches the ball every time. Flacco can just throw it up to him or throw it anywhere, and if it's in his range, he'll catch it. I think that's a huge loss. I'm not really exactly sure how they're going to replace him. They have a plethora of young wide receivers with a lot of raw ability and a very high ceiling, but, that only gets you so far. Anquan Boldin brought a physicality, intangibles to this offense that really personified the way the Ravens have built their franchise and their playing style on defense. So the way that I foresee them replacing Boldin is really moving Pitta into the wide receiver tight end hybrid. I think he's going to play more in the slot. You can put Torrey Smith, Jacoby Jones outside. Jacoby Jones also worries me because when he was in Houston, he had one of the best wide receivers in the past 10 years on the other side of him, and he couldn't produce. He was given a larger role, and he couldn't produce. I mean, sure, he made some great plays in the Super Bowl, and, he made some big plays in the regular season, but when he is given an increased workload, he doesn't produce. So that's kind of scary to me. And I think Joe Flacco is really going to have to lean on Dennis Pitta. You put Pitta in the slot, then you can have Ed Dickson on the end of the line of scrimmage as a tight end. And I think he is more of a dangerous option than some people may realize. I think Pitta's emergence last year really kind of made a lot of people overlook Dickson. But he is a dangerous weapon when used and when people try to utilize him. And then you can put Kyle Juszczyk over on the other side and act as a second tight end, even though he is a fullback. He was very, very versatile at Harvard. He played running back, fullback, tight end. He played everywhere on that offense. So I think this offense is really going to be a lot of weapons. They're going to replace Boldin by committee, but mostly with Dennis Pitta. And I think this offense is just going to be, very versatile, very fast, vertical passing game, which really fits Flacco's strong, his skill set. So, on to the defense. This is where most of the losses came. But if you remember last year, every single starter besides Ed Reed and Kerry Williams missed time due to injury. And even then, Ed Reed was injured. He was playing hurt. So it's not like younger players haven't gotten experience. And I think Elvis Dumervil is just going to do absolute wonders for this defense. I mean, having Terrell Suggs back healthy, a healthy Terrell Suggs, and Dumervil, I mean, I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if the Ravens don't lead the league in sacks or come close to it. And I mean, with Haloti Ngata inside, Chris Canty, who's just been, by all reports, dominant in training camp, I think they're just going to have a chance to have, in my opinion, I think the defense is going to be the best since the 06 defense. I mean, that's how good I think this defense can be. Having Pernell McPhee, I think he's going to really improve. He had a really good rookie year, but kind of slumped a little bit, dealt with injuries. They're moving him to outside linebacker. So they really have a lot of young players, kind of a mix of young and veteran players that can rush the passer, really get after it. Really look for Art Jones to have a breakout year at that 3-4 defensive end spot. And I just think this defense is going to be special. I think Michael Huff at this point of his career is probably an upgrade over Ed Reed. And I think Matt Elam, I really like that draft pick. He is just, I think he's an upgrade, well, not quite an upgrade over Pollard, but in the long run, I think he will be just as vicious of a hitter, probably a little bit better in coverage. I think his ball skills are vastly underrated. So, I mean, I think, again, this defense is going to be legit. And the special teams, as always, it's going to be just really, really solid. Jacoby Jones, continuing what he did from last season, returning kicks, and they always have a pretty good coverage unit. And the kicker and the punters, Cook and Tucker. Tucker might have a perfect season. You never know. So that's what I think the Ravens how they'll, turn out next year. Expect the playoffs again. I'm Jeff Gilley. Thanks for listening to WNST. Follow me on Twitter again, @JeffreyL. And, thanks, Nestor.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.